Hello again, this is Brian Mounts, runturfmechanic.com in this channel. Today I'm making a video not exactly for you. This isn't more for me. This one's more for me and for my subscribers. If you are a subscriber, if you watch some of my videos, you know that I'm attempting to reach new audiences all the time, trying to answer questions, trying to educate. Today, I'm not trying to reach anybody. I'm not trying to educate. I want to document my own property as we're starting the 2021 lawn care season, and I want to formulate a plan. I really want to document the plan that I want to achieve this year. Now, a lot of the things that I'm going to present in this video and a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are kind of on my wish list. Some of these things are higher on the wish list than others, so I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to get to them all, but I want to get through as much of this as possible. So hey, let me show you around the property, and I'm just going to show you the bad stuff going on in the property and all of the projects that I want to address this year. All right, here's my side yard. This is an area of the yard over here that is almost never on videos. This is a steep hill. There's a tree swing there. In a few weeks, all of that green that you see down there is going to start growing quite a bit. This is basically just field grasses, annuals, things that grow up and die and seed. They're just not pleasant. I do want to tend to this better. So down here, technically this is not exactly our property, at least the whole area that's cut down, but I cut that down a couple days ago. In the middle is an old stick pile that's been there since we moved in. That stick pile is not on our property, but it's just barely off the property line. I want to get rid of it. I want to kind of drag it up the hill and either take it off to the dump or probably just burn it in our fire pit. Now down here, this is our rock wall. You can see the green is already starting to come up. This is an area that for the 3 years or so that we've had this landscaping set up here, I have been very poor at my maintenance down here. Now, we put a little cherry tree in and protected it, but everything here grows up enormously with just enormous amounts of weeds. So this year I would really like to emphasize keeping this clean and tidy. So I've got some ideas, and maybe some videos will come out down the road on it. I mean, you can see dead stuff from last year that I just never pulled up. Now again, here on this fence line, I got lots of problems here on this fence line. So you see on the other side of the fence, before you get to the rock wall, all of my grass grows up on the other side. It's virtually impossible for me to cut that down regularly. It's always a huge chore. So this year, I've got some ideas. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to address that other side of the fence so that everything around here actually looks tidy after I mow. We'll see what I come up with. All right, here's another area. Well, let's talk about this. Here's the side of the house. I'm regularly set up here in videos, but here on the side of the house, we've got some bulbs that come up. I need to clean up all of the old stuff from last year. I thought I was going to get around to it, but I never actually did. So I need to clean this up. We kind of want to bring this right here, right there, and just bring it into the wall and add that to grass space as I point with my foot. That's a digging and seeding project that I'd like to get to, and we'll see if it happens. But certainly I'd like to have this side of the house here looking nicer. Same goes for out front. So out front, another area that I rarely feature in videos because it doesn't look good. When we moved in, this area looked pretty nice. It was all of the sand and stuff that you see. The problem is it's not thick enough, and tons of these weeds have been growing up through it. You also end up getting these little, I don't want to call them suckers, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but that right here that is growing out of the root system of these trees. I think they're aspen trees, which is going to be a problem dealing with, but I do want to clean up this area. This is an overwhelming, in my opinion, it feels overwhelming to deal with it, but I do want to make it look better. This area that my daughter is on, I'm considering ripping this up and putting in a fine fescue grass area here. That way we're not always dragging like gravel and rocks up into the house area. You see what my daughter's doing right now. All of that dirt just ends up in the house. Here's another area as I go down the steep hill towards the front. So that is a large space, and I cut that down periodically. This year I would like to be able to cut that down every 10 days or so. That way I can stay on top of it, keep it looking good. It is a hill though. This is a steep hill. I used to use a riding lawnmower on it, but it was just too dangerous. So now I have to use a push mower. Well, that takes a lot of time. But my kids are getting a little bit older, so maybe I can do it. We'll see. That's a goal of mine. All right, as I come back, and now I'm on the other side of the fence by my tree swing here. Here, this will give you a little bit of a perspective as to the slope. So I'd kind of like to prune these things. I'm not sure exactly what kind of shrub that is. They do make some fruit of some kind. I'd like to prune them, but this entire hillside is very, very hard to keep clean. And you can see I just never dealt with it in the fall last year. So I'm going to try to clean it up here this spring before everything starts growing. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it looking good the whole year because it's just such a challenging area. But it's on my wish list of things to do, so we'll see. All right, back up the hill. This is an area of our property that's kind of the hill, the upper hill, far reaches here. Now you can see it looks pretty clean right now. It used to look like that, and there's lots of brush that I've pulled out. I've been tending to this steep part of the hill, I don't know, over the past few weeks, kind of cleaning it up. I would like to maybe produce some videos where I seed some of this, because as you can see, I mean, it's just a lot of bare dirt and it's really loose. So I'd like to have some erosion control and be able to walk up that hill without digging dirt out all over the place. That will be a hard project because it's hard to seed and grow grass on a steep hill. But I think that could be good fodder for some videos down the road. As you go up the steep embankment here, we get up in here. You see I have some hoses out. I started the process of irrigating this area last summer and then just stopped because, I don't know, I just wasn't ready. Up here, this is full sun. This is full sun all the time, and I am considering doing some interesting projects on this hill. Killing off a lot of the brush that's around here and maybe seeding some interesting grass types, kind of like row crops, like have like a row of one grass type and a row of another, even maybe some warm season grass types. They might die off over the winter here because we do get cold. But it certainly could be a pretty interesting experiment and series of videos, learning experiences for me and for you if I were to do that. I've even got this cool idea, at least in my head it's a cool idea, of grabbing some St. Augustine grass sod and trying to install it up here and grow some St. Augustine grass through the summer, just for the fun of it. So I don't think you can get that just about anywhere in the state of Oregon. So it'll be a little bit of a challenge to get my hands on it, but I think that could be pretty fun. All of this property up here is ours. So I'm also thinking about kind of cleaning up more of this area. So you can see all of this all the way up to that tree up there. This is all ours, but if I were to clean up all of this, we'd end up having a lot more semi-flat usable space up here on the top of our hillside, which could just be fun for outdoor play in the spring, summer, and fall. Make for a killer sledding hill in the winter too if we had enough snowpack. I will most likely want to improve on my kids' treehouse up here this year, and I will most likely fail on that. I'm not a quick carpenter. I do like carpentry work, and I just wish I could get to this, but I just doubt it's going to happen. Everything over here is all ours. I have no plans for over there. Possibly we'll be putting in some solar panels around here, but that is also an unlikely scenario. I would like all of this cut down though. All of this brush and all the loose rock around in here. So I'd like to turn this into somewhat of a usable space. More of a extended play area, really. This is my failed composting, grass composting experiment from last year. I literally just let it sit for an entire year. So I don't know, maybe I'll dig it up and find some use for this material. Maybe resume my composting. Certainly it does need to be cleaned up though. So, what do you think, Iz? Good? Yeah. Alright, as we come down the hill, there's the house over there. This whole area I've cut down every now and then. Again, this would be another area that would be nice if I could find the time to keep this a little bit more tidy throughout the year. I do find it important to cross our property line and keep that cleared a little bit as a fire break from the house. So hopefully I'll do that. I'll do better. I cleared it twice last year. I'd like to clear it maybe like 3 or 4 times this year just to stay on top of it, make it a smaller job. Here we go with the chickens. I rarely feature the chickens as a prominent feature in my videos, but the back of their chicken coop needs to be cleaned up, and we are considering, like seriously considering, adding some extra tall fencing here and putting an extra garden bed lining this, or raised up off the ground on the outside of the chicken coop, so that we could expand. I mean, this is just full sun here, so we could really expand the chicken or the garden bed space in this largely unused area. Big project, but I think it's doable, and my wife would love it. So as a married man, anything that your wife would love is pretty high on the importance list. So I'll get to that certainly eventually. Probably should deal with all of this rock. Impossible to keep the weeds down with the rock there. Anyway, let's come back into the yard. This is what I call my hill yard. The fire pit area, we're going to be using that tonight to burn off some old dead wood. Certainly the fire pit could be improved, made a little bit nicer. Here in my hill yard, I've got, most likely this is moles or gophers or something, some tunneling that's been happening up here. I've never put grub repellent up here in the hill yard before. I think I'm going to do it this year because I believe that those animals eat the grubs that are living in the ground. So that would just be one new reason to keep them out of the yard. They stay away from the chickens and the garden, luckily, and the dogs over there. But I am tired of seeing these little dirt hills that just appear out of nowhere overnight. There are a lot of weeds up here I'd like to take care of. I do not want grass here though. As you can see, the kids really like digging around and playing in the sand, as do the cats. But I don't want the weeds there, so I'm going to deal with that. And I would like the rest of this to be a little bit more grassy and clean. So I know that this hill yard is the area that I want to spend the least amount of money on. In fact, I have like a couple videos about this space specifically being my zero cost lawn repair section. So I don't want to break that rule too much, but I am probably going to be spending a little bit of money, maybe putting some seed down. These are some of the cores that I've been aerating with. I'm going to experiment with kind of just spreading them here in the low spots to kind of deal with the contour a little bit better. And then here, this is the steep section of the hill yard. And I'm going to be hoping to thicken this up quite a bit, maybe with some seeding, maybe with some light fertilizing, watering and mowing certainly. But I just want this to be nicer. I mean, most of this is field grasses and annuals. Some would classify a lot of it as weeds only. But it's just fun space for the kids to play on. We do small sledding tracks back here, and my little one up there, he likes grabbing his balance bike and running down the hill. Possibly we'll do some in the future. We'll do like a little retaining wall, but I'm not sure if that will happen. In the meantime, I certainly want to make this a better grassy space. Now the garden, of course, this is always a project, which I don't feature enough on the channel. But we are hoping to enclose this outside bed in the garden space because we have deer here and they just eat everything in that little bed right there. So I'm going to redo the whole fence line here and enclose that, bring it all the way over, and maybe put the post kind of where this bucket is. Enclose the whole thing. That way we can get all of this space right here that we could add some garden beds. We do have a substantial garden, and we can feed our family for a long time off of the stuff that we make in this garden. So by adding just a couple extra beds, we're really going to be probably taking it to the next level. But anyway, this is a fun project that I work on with my wife sometimes. When she's available, and the kids can get involved too. Do you like the garden? Yeah. There's all my grass pots. These are all my fescues. They're still in winter dormancy. I'm going to start trimming them and try to bring them out of dormancy here really quick. Now, as for the yard itself, this is the main thing. All of my subscribers, viewers mostly come to this channel because of my yard care material. I have deep thatch problems throughout this yard. I'm going to be continuing to dethatch with liquids. I'm not going to be doing major mechanical dethatching. I'm going to be continuing to put down liquid aeration products and core aerating. I think they both should be used, not one or the other. And then I'm going to continue doing cool little projects like that right there, right over here. There's a video coming out right where my daughter is sitting in a couple weeks or so. I expect this area to be green and growing, but everything else to be just sluggishly coming out of winter. So if you're watching this live, look forward to that video coming out. So in addition to that, you know, certainly I want my lawn to look its best, but I have 4 kids. There's always toys, and I would prefer the lawn to be used by a family than to look good. So I am always going to be pushing for the lawn to be used. This, however, does not look good at all. So that's a project that this used to look like that. So I have to really weed it out, and there's tons of these like rocks and stuff. I got to pull that out. There's a whole like drip system in here that needs to be redone. So that's a project for eventually, hopefully sooner than later. So anyway, if it makes sense, I'll probably make some videos on that. But generally, I am looking forward to the spring season. I have tons of stuff on my plate, tons of like cool like video ideas to make, as well as just general yard and lawn maintenance, the stuff that everybody does, but nobody really Nobody really makes videos about them. Anyway, if you're watching this as a subscriber, I appreciate your time. This is a long video, but like I said, this thing is more a documentation for my purposes. I want to be able to compare this at the end of the year to see what I got done. There's definitely going to be more projects than I even mentioned. You know, I mean, we've got here, we got a grapevine. We'd like to get a couple others going and maybe do some mulching down here. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, that's my property. That's my property as of March 13th, 2021. We'll check back in, I don't know, like 6 months from now and see what I got done. See if I was lazy or if I was actually productive. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Most of my material is not like vlog style like this. So anyway, I hope you liked it. And I will see you in another video down the road. Thanks a lot. Oh, hey, spring lawn care guide or other lawn care guide right there. Watch that guide. That'll help you out. That'll actually give you detailed information on something. Yeah! All right, let go. Good job, Izzy.
Why isn't there a bag?
Why isn't there a bag?
Yeah.
Well, because we don't need to pick up the grass clippings. They go back onto the grass, under the grass to the dirt, and then they fertilize the new grass.
Oh, still a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. That's okay. We'll get it later.